Hello everybody, and today I would like to explain you or to speak to you about the match expression available since PHP 8. So the match expression is really handy because when you just have one expression in a switch statement, you can usually convert it into a match statement. So switch to match, and this will make your code more concise, more readable, obviously, more compact, and you will also avoid to have some kind of mistakes when you forget the break or the return statement in your switch statement. So with match, you see it's really small, it's really short, it's just so easy to do some kind of comparison. And let's see directly how you can use match to compare different expressions. So in my case, as an example here, I have switch and then I just do a greeting. So this is like the greeting of the day, and depending, so D flag with PHP, it will just return the three first letter of the day. So it will be Monday, for Monday to be Mon, Tuesday to be Tu, Wednesday to be Wed, and so on. And I just assign a variable with a message. Obviously it could have been like this as well. Oops. We could have done it like that, but in our example I just assign it with a message variable, and then I just do a echo. Today is Sunday, so it's happy Sunday, just relax, take it easy. And how we can convert this with the switch expression, convert this switch with the match, how we can convert this switch statement with the match PHP 8 expression. So it's easy, we just have to change switch to match. With match it's only one expression, so if we did something like another expression here, it wouldn't work with match. We have to take this into account because match returns directly the first line. So here to be match, and then we will have, instead of case, we'll do mon, and then like an array, and then we do this like a associative array. We have the key and then the value and then the colon, and then we have Tuesday, again Tu, we do the arrow and then the colon. Wednesday as well, the arrow sign, so equals arrow and like this. Then Thursday equals arrow, the value and the colon, and it will be the same for obviously all of the others. So Friday, obviously, yeah, it's happy Friday. And then Saturday, woohoo, the weekend, so we do this. And then finally Sunday, which is today, we do this. This is obviously just an example. And then the default, well, the default one, so the default statement, and if we go to php.net match, structure match, so the default is exactly the same as what we currently have in the switch statement. The match statement also it also has a default. So the default case, it's a pattern where when everything doesn't match, it will be the default, it will go to the default one if we mention it. So we will mention the default case, and here default again, equals a row, and here we will throw an error, but we could have done like something else. We could have done no day matches or something like this, but in our case we will throw an error. And then we match returns directly explicitly all of the value. So no return, we'll just remove this, and we have to remove the semicolon here to be like this, or we can even leave a colon in case we add something else later, but it shouldn't be the case because we are already on the default case at the end. And then here match, we just assign a variable, or we could just have done like this directly, return. But in our case, we are not in the function scope, we are in the global scope of the file. So we just assign the message, and then we do echo. And you will see this will be exactly the same. However, you have to be careful because you need the semicolon here. Because match is like an expression, you need a semicolon. If we don't have a semicolon, you will see I will get an error, you see. So now if I mention the semicolon, I refresh. Oh, sorry, I have a different error here. Yeah, I forgot a colon, you see there. So now I will do again, I will remove the semicolon. We will see a different error, you see, because I missed the semicolon. Now I have it, and yeah, it works. And this is how you can have a beautiful code with match. I will show you another example now on my CMS, on my PH7 CMS. But before, yes, you can go to php.watch. It's really handy. They show you some example. The good thing with match, you can also use it with enum. So if I go to here, enum, Stitcher, that's a really nice, really good website. You know, they explain every time a new PHP version is released, they explain deeply what's the new features and what's deprecated and the other changes. And here there's just an article only about enumeration, so you can use match as well. You see in an enum if you wish, but that will be for another video. But you can use match also in a enum to do the switch. Basically, when you like an enum is a little bit like a class, and so you can do some case. That's the enum. Like we have draft the key, we have published, we also have baked enums. So baked enums is with values, so it contains values, and then you could have a match expression inside to do like a switch. Oh, if the value is that one, then I return this string. I will show it to you here, like here. So we can also use the power of match in an enum structure like this. And then after we will just call the color function that returns match, and it goes red because we have archived here. Match decides if it's archived, like when you have a switch statement, it's the same. If we have archived or if we have published, then we return this, and in our case is red. So now I will go to my PH7 CMS to show you a real world example. As you can see, we have a switch statement. So this is like a CMS I have built, and just for the exercise we will convert this switch statement into a PHP 8 match statement. So the main difference, because here you can see we have only one expression, so it can be easily converted into a match statement. If we had more than one expression or some conditions inside of the case block, we wouldn't be able to. But in this case, because we just call the constant and we just assign it, we can easily move this one into a match function statement. So first I will go to the latest branch. Perfect. I will go to edit. I will do it directly through GitHub for this example. And we can see we have quite a lot of switch statements, so we could do it for all of them, but for now let's focus on the one I just mentioned. So first, here in the convention for the CMS, so the coding convention is usually I always prefix every variable with the data type. So S for string, it will be B for a boolean, it will be, for instance, F for float, it will be I for integer, and so on. So in our case here, apparently I have done a mistake because I just said $mod, and it has to be S for string because I prefix always with the data type. So let's do this first. I can even show it to you. It's on ph7cms.com/doc, and let's go there. And here, if I search for coding style or code convention, is that one. And so here you can see I mentioned this here: variable name, data type, prefixes, array, and so on. So that's a convention in the CMS. So in our case, it will be smod and this as well. And so here we will start. We can do return directly because match returns the value automatically. So we switch, obviously we cannot do this, but with match we can do this, and then it will be smod. And then here we have user like this, and then it's like an array, and then you do this. Perfect. And so there we have affiliate like that, and now we assign it to the constant like this, and here it has to be a colon. So if you go to PHP 8 and then we do match, you will see, let's go here, php.watch, that's a good one, and you can see, you always have a colon, and it's one expression like I was saying, return from the match. Here, yes, contain only one expression, so there is no issue, otherwise it won't work. Syntax is not allowed. Each arm must contain only one single expression. So in our case it's perfect because there's only one expression. It's just assigning to the constant table name, member table name, DB table name, affiliate, and so on. And so here we have newsletter as well, and then the newsletter will be this one, and then finally we have this one, that's a constant here, and here we assign also to this one. So here we will return this one, so we don't have to assign it to a table variable anymore, because before here I was returning it. Now we return directly the match function. So you can see like here the match expression, you can either assign with a variable or return it directly. And so here we do this way, so we are admin now, colon, and then we do default, and then we can call that one. So default expression is the same as the switch statement, it remains the same. So we have, you can just throw an exception. In our case, this one will throw it directly, as you can see here. Where is the function? Here you see we threw the error automatically, so we just have to call default and then this function. Perfect. And this is done. So we have done all of them. You see it's much smaller, and it improves the readability as well. So you don't need the break anymore. The break statement is not needed anymore because it will return automatically each expression. Since we have only one line expression, we don't need the break because match knows directly to return this one or this one. With a switch statement, however, you need the break to mention when it's over, when you have to break it and to go again to leave the switch statement. So as soon as we break it, we leave the switch statement and we don't continue. But in our case of match, it does it automatically. So this is why also it can prevent some errors, because sometimes with a switch statement, if you don't use a return statement, you don't have break or return, then you might have a mistake and you might have a bug in your software. So this is why with match, you are sure. If you only have one expression, you are sure it will be fine, because you never need a break or return statement to leave the switch statement. So every time you have only one expression in your switch statement, it's nice then to use match. Match is really handy for this. Perfect. So that's it actually. And we have the default. Beautiful. So this we can save it. So we do move from switch to in favor of match for better readability. Perfect. And we can save it. Lovely. Now, for instance, if we look at the div, the git div, you will see it's much nicer. Like before, we had with the switch statement, we had one line case, then the expression, then the break statement, and every time the same. Here, it's really short, it's really condensed, and it's still really readable. So we have user, affiliate, newsletter, the constant, PH7 admin mode, and then the default one, the default statement, which just threw an error. As simple as this. The last thing you could have noticed is here, mode. The variable, indeed, we named the variable name with a prefix, but we just forgot to rename that one too. So that's really important. Otherwise, we'll have a undifferent variable. So let's fix that one. Let's search for this, for the name, and let's just rename to the S prefix mode. Beautiful. And now we can save it. I will just save the file and we say fix undefined variable renamed. So I use backtick to show like this is code mode to S mode. Beautiful. And you see the backtick, you will see how it will render. It will render like code, you see? It's a bit gray and it's just nicer to see, oh yeah, this is a variable. Oh, by the way, one very important thing we have missed, or I have missed, I would say, obviously, and it's important, you know, with match, unlike with switch, with match, we need to have a semicolon. So to end the expression with a semicolon, because match is a little bit particular. It's like an expression. So here we have to use a semicolon. Obviously, in this case, we are at the end of the function. So that's fine. But if we had, for instance, if we were assigning it to a variable, so it would be like table name, and then we would do return table name. Here we would have an error because we didn't use the semicolon. We have to end the expression with a semicolon first. So like this will be a syntax error. PHP will just throw a syntax error because this is incorrect. We have to end the match expression with a semicolon because it's not a function. So with the switch statement, we don't need a semicolon. With a match, we do. So in my case, I will still do the return, the explicit return directly. I will still leave the semicolon there. This is the end for today. If you want to go further, obviously you can follow me on my GitHub. You can also have a look to the new projects I constantly update. For instance, yesterday I was updating Not Allowed to have the enum one in the band. So you see I have enum and I have used match there. So you see, this is just an example. I wish you all the best. Have a great time coding and using the new match expression thanks to PHP 8.